last night, you and I were both at the sneak preview of Warm Bodies, the Jonathan Levine film brought to us early, 2 months early.
Yes.
So,
and I didn't realize this. I had to look it up later. Jonathan Levine also directed 50-50,
right,
which I would
sneak preview we had.
I was excited to see that one. I was if I had realized he was the same person, I would have been like first in line for this. I was like 50th in line. But
it's kind of nice though that I already knew ahead of time, but it's kind of nice maybe that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a completely different movie for him, considering, if you base it off of that. I mean, he's also done Love Bites. I know he did that, and he did another movie.
I looked this up earlier, but I forget. I know I've seen another one of his films.
Did he do The Whackness?
He did The Whackness,
Okay.
yeah. I did not see that, but yeah, he did that one.
Okay. So, so those movies are, share kind of a common, grounded human theme, whereas this movie is nothing like that. It's a zombie movie of sorts. I liked it. I'll just
what
go
do you
out
mean
and
of
say,
sorts? It seemed entirely a zombie movie.
It's not a traditional zombie movie. I think up front you're going to have to tell people that if you're a zombie purist, this is not. You're going to find a lot of things to nitpick at in this particular film.
And that's something I kind of mentioned on Twitter after the film. It definitely asks that you take a leap of logic in terms of zombie lore.
Yes.
It definitely tries to write its own path.
At the same time, though, if you're a zombie enthusiast, that could, I suppose, be a good thing. If you just like all things zombie and you want something new.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Well, it worked for me great because I'm bored to death with all the sort of heavy-handed zombie dramas that are happening right now,
There
it's
are
like
a lot of them, aren't there?
So I was thrilled that this movie took a totally different take on what it meant to be a zombie and the whole zombie lore.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking during the movie, is the zombie the new vampire?
Yeah,
of course it is.
I think it is. I think it's taking over at this point, especially with.
Well, that's what zombies kind of do.
That's true. Yeah. With, of course, The Walking Dead, the TV show, being very popular, and then the Twilight series kind of winding down. I hope that so it just seems like this is definitely the direction that Hollywood may be going in terms of trying to get their money's worth out of it.
Yeah, they still want to be able to say, we got a zombie movie, but the directors, the writers, they're trying to do something different.
And of course, I mean, in real life, we've got a lot of talk about zombies. I mean, there's, a looming, is it looming or was it supposed to have happened already, the zombie apocalypse?
Oh, December 21st is still upon us.
Oh, wow, that's a catch-all date.
That's the Mayan apocalypse,
going to happen. Okay, and with the bath salts business, it seems to have somehow crept into our real life, and so anyway, they're everywhere, man.
Yeah. So basically, it's the story of a zombie who is not quite a zombie of sorts.
Yeah.
There's a running narrative.
He has a zombie with an inner monologue, which I think is the first thing that zombie purists are going to say. Like, if you watch Dawn of the Dead and we're like, oh, zombies don't run, this is going to be throwing you off in a totally different direction. But I loved that aspect of it.
And of course, it has Nicholas Hoult in it, who was in About a Boy.
Yes.
And then sort of chose the right thing to do as a child star and kind of didn't do too many things that made a big splash. She made a really big splash with About a Boy and then kind of didn't really appear again until Skins, which was the United Kingdom version of that show. They tried to redo it here in the U.S. a couple years ago. It was really good in that, and then, of course, was in X-Men First Class as the Beast and did a really good job with that, and I'm assuming he's reprising that role for the sequel.
Yeah.
So, his star is rising, and this definitely seems like a property for him to, just continue sort of that love fest that people are starting to have for him. Also has Teresa Palmer, who was in Take Me Home Tonight, which was one of our favorites in terms of the comedies last year. Rob Couldry is also in it. John Malkovich.
Anna Lee Tipton?
Tipton, yeah. She was in Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah.
Played the
She's been in
daughter.
a lot of things lately.
Yeah, so she's coming around too. And then James Franco's brother, Dave Franco.
Yeah.
I can't laugh without seeing. Every time I see him, I just crack up laughing. He's kind of a goofy guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely has recognizable actors in it.
I thought the cast was like the best thing about this.
Yeah.
Like it was just perfect casting. Every actor was cast perfectly, and Rob Corddry totally sells the second half of the movie. This is a movie about what do we understand about zombies and what will happen to them eventually? Like, you know, are they just unrepentant killing machines, or how much of their humanity remains? And he's the one, more than, you know, the main character, Nicholas Hoult, R was his zombie character name. You know, he sells that to some degree, but then when you see Rob Corddry doing the things that he's doing, and two best lines in the movie, I think, in the same scene, that really, I think, sells it. And like, okay, this is a real thing. This isn't just like now we're into another part of the movie.
Well, definitely, it starts off kind of as a not a traditional zombie movie, but sort of in the fare of this is the zombie world that they live in, and then it kind of shifts into sort of the actiony, you know, the zombie horde is coming upon us, and then it's the romantic sort of love story, and then it goes full-blown comedy for about 30 solid minutes, and that'sroughly what you're talking about with Coultry's character. Like, he definitely sells the sort of, okay, we're shifting gears in a completely different direction now, and then it kind of goes back to that action sort of sequence.
I had written down, it is a feel-good comedy, action, romance, horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it still has some of those horror elements. There are a couple of
there's
a couple of jump scares in there, and some scary stuff.
There are, of course, zombies in this world, but then there are also, what do they call them, bonies?
Bonies or skeletons,
which are just sort of just like completely like lost zombies, which is kind of hard to explain. But those are some legit like freaky things running around in that environment.
When people start to run from those things, you're like egging them on, like, run, hurry up.
They really sold that really well, and that's actually one way for it to shift gears from one to the other. Like, you could be in a completely romantic sort of loopy scene, and then all of a sudden one of those guys shows up, and then it's a completely different movie again. So I really enjoy that aspect of it. You kind of would get lost in it for a few minutes, and then you'd be like, oh wait, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
Because of those characters.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. There is some logical things that I was thinking about afterwards that didn't really work, but it's the fact that they sold it, that it was just sort of, I think, more so making fun of the romantic comedy genre, like sort of poking fun at it. Like, one of the best, some of the best scenes in the movie for me were the use of sort of music.
Yeah.
With the record player the zombie has stored away, and it's just ridiculous. Just had people rolling in the theater, and so that's what really helped sell that aspect of the movie was the soundtrack.
Yeah,
I thought they did a really good job with that, and of course, with it being 2 months from now, this movie hits, I think, 2 weeks before Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I was kind of looking around to see if any other movies would sort of be big competition for it. I think the only other movie that comes out the week before is that Hansel and Gretel movie that they're trying
it's traditionally not a big month for
It isn't.
movies.
Yeah, but it you know, you think a lot of people would take advantage of it being sort of the Valentine's Day aspect, and it doesn't seem like there's like a lot of action movies in early February. So this definitely seems like this could be like a good date movie, perhaps
Definitely.
make some money, which it really should.
I feel like it's the kind of thing that if you're a guy, you can take your girlfriend to, and even if she doesn't like scary movies, you can kind of like hold her hand through the first half hour, and then you'll be into it. You know,
you could get away with taking somebody that isn't a traditional zombie fan, but maybe would want to see something in a romantic nature.
The other group I think that's really going to love this, Jason, I know you'll roll your eyes, the Twilight crowd. I think that
they'll like anything, won't they?
No. They came to the theater specifically for Twilight, but I think this movie, it has a lot of the same themes.
They seem
to
be,
the love of a woman turns a monster into something else. I think that there's a lot of that aspect in this.
There's also a certain look to the characters and the cinematography.
I think if that audience finds this, it'll go through the roof.
Oh, that's fine.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
it's a better movie than any of the Twilight movies. I'm just trying to get more people to comment on the videos, so don't worry. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought there was some interesting things that you don't see often. Some devices in this movie that I don't recall being in a lot of movies, or even any movie that I've seen. And we can get more into that maybe as
when we get closer to the
actual release date. Maybe maybe after the fact we can spoil it a little bit, but it's definitely something to check out, something to get excited for. And I've actually already seen TV ads for this.
Really?
And I think maybe I saw them while I was watching, of course, The Walking Dead on AMC.
That makes sense.
So it would make sense that they would start, pumping out a few dollars to get people aware of it, because obviously with Christmas just around the corner, people are going to sort of forget about certain things. And
also, I mean, they would probably want to promote during Walking Dead while it's still on the air.
Right, because last week was the mid-season finale, and it doesn't actually come back until February 10th, which is the exact. It would already. I think this movie would already be out before that. So
also, it just generally wouldn't be enough lead time.
Sure.
I think. Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, I think this is an excellent movie. I don't know if it ever gets to like. Maybe excellent's too strong a word. I don't know if it ever gets to excellent, but it's a very good movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's got something for just about everybody. Like, everybody's going to find something to enjoy in this film.
Yeah, and
just getting to very good these days is something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like kind of what I would say. It wasn't, I think the end, sort of like the last 20 minutes kind of fall apart a little bit for me. But it works. It works. If they, I don't know, actually, I don't have any solutions for the end of the movie. I don't know of anything else that would have made it better just because of the way it's developed. I enjoyed it. Yeah. And I thought the acting really sold it, sold the idea of it. Because I had actually heard of this. I mean, it's based on a book, which is something we can maybe get into about Hollywood movies. It's about 2 years old now, the material it's based off of. So, and I've never read the book, so I don't know how close it is to the original story or not. But I've heard of the idea of the movie, and then I heard that they were making the movie. And I kind of almost rolled my eyes like, oh, no, this isn't going to be that good. And then I actually saw one of the TV spots for it, and I thought, I was laughing. I was like, okay, something about this is entertaining. So I would definitely recommend it to just about anybody. Yeah. Because it definitely has a lot of different avenues that it sells itself on.
Yeah. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.